I have done shadow work for 17 years, and I can tell you, it is more than just journaling, meditating, and reading self-help books. Real shadow work will put you back at the driver's seat of your own life, only after you have done the work. There is no way around it, because until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Hi, I'm Josh, and I know how complicated and painful it can be to do shadow work, especially when there is no one around you to support you or guide you through the process. That is why in this video I would like to share with you everything that I wish I knew throughout these 17 years that I have been doing shadow work. And the first thing that I would like you to know is, what is it? What's shadow work? But simply, shadow work is becoming aware of the why behind important things in your life. So let's make this a little bit clearer. Imagine that this circle is your consciousness, it's you. And there is a part of you that is aware of the things that are actually happening. But there is also part of you that is unaware of the things that are actually going inside of you. So shadow work, it is starting to recognize all the different elements that are here in the part that you don't know, to bring those elements into your awareness. Many people, when they listen to the idea of shadow, they think that there is something wrong with them, where everything that is negative is residing in. But that is not actually the case. We call it shadow because it is something that you are not aware. It is something that you're not conscious of. There can be hidden talents waiting for you to discover them. It is very important for you to get in touch with this shadow side because it is already affecting you. So the way that you think, the way that you act, the how you feel, and the way that you behave, it is highly related to what you are going to find there in the shadow. So how does shadow work? What is the mechanism that it's at place? To help you understand that, let's zoom out a little bit from the circle that we have of being aware and being not aware. And we are going to call this ego. Or in other words, we are going to call it the physical mind. Now the ego has one main function: focus you in physical reality. What is happening here, as I understand it, is the ego is just a concentration, is a focal point of your soul. So your soul, you can think of it also as the energy that you are made of. And the energy, the soul, the conscious that you are, it is focusing down into this ego. There is also something that happens here, which is you have here the ego, but the ego, it is receiving the information from the soul. And there is a different level that we can have here in the soul, which is known as higher mind. It is here in between the level of physical reality, which is where we have the ego, and the complete spiritual plane. And the function of the higher mind, it is to send information, guidance to the ego. The higher mind, it is going to send you the information not through words. It is going to send you the information based on energy. And the energy is going to come and get to you. And your body, your physical body, is going to make the interpretation of that energy as emotion. And from that emotion, which is energy in motion, energy in movement, you are going to have a specific way to think. And usually, when you are feeling and thinking in a specific way, what is going to happen? You are going to start acting and behaving in that way. Here in this triangle, what lays at the top is actually the soul, or the higher mind. And down here at the bottom is where we have the ego. And this element that we have here in between is what we can call the subconscious. If you actually think about it, we have many things backwards. If we think that the ego, or the human mind, is what is at the top of everything, how can it be that you, me, people can do something that you are not aware that you are actually doing? In other words, how can you be doing something if you are not conscious of it? There has to be a part of you that it is in charge of that actually knows what is happening. And that part of you can be that subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind has to be more aware than your conscious mind. And this idea of the ego comes back to it is focusing you. So you don't have to be consciously thinking about from this soul level, focusing to the point where you can experience physical reality. Following me so far? I hope you are. If there is a question or a doubt, leave them down below. Continuing with the explanation, we're going to have belief systems. Belief systems are going to indicate to us how we are going to use our energy. So we are going to move the energy, emotions, feelings. From these emotions and feelings, we're going to have thoughts. And finally, we are going to have actions. The reason behind asking yourself why in what is happening in your life, like why you believe what you believe, why you feel what you feel, why you think what you think, and why you do what you do. It is going to help you understand what is that underlying way of perceiving reality that you have, what are your belief systems. And this works in the following way. You, me, everyone, we have something that I know as motivational mechanism. And it works very simply. If there is something that you think is positive for you, you are always going to move in that direction because it is something that you perceive, that you believe is positive for you, is joyful for you. So this is rule number 1. Now, if there is something that you perceive to be as negative, you are always going to move away from that. And that's, we can say, is the second principle of the motivational mechanism. So when you have this understanding and you start to actually apply it and see that this applies in your life, and you start seeing these mechanics of how the way that you believe and what you feel, what you think, and what you do come from the beliefs that you have, you are going to dive deeper into this part of what is not aware for you. This that we call the shadow side of you. This is going to slowly take you back into that being at the driver's seat of your life. Because you cannot change what you do not know. And how are you going to recognize this? Because the energy that the higher mind is sending you, that your soul is sending you, it is going to feel like peace, like joy, like excitement. It is going to be something that you are simply going to recognize if you're honest with yourself, that is in harmony with you and who you are at the core. Something personally that happened to me is when I was growing up, there were so many different experiences that I went through that were painful and complicated for me at that time. And what I learned to do just to survive was to create big, thick walls around my true feelings and my true thoughts. And I just started incorporating and doing things that I thought people wanted me to have. These allowed me to somehow make a little bit of connection with someone here and there so I wouldn't feel alone. But I started to recognize that by having these walls around me, I was actually not connecting with people. There was a point when I felt really, really lonely. I got sick and I was like at the third week, like really, really sick. I was not even able to talk. And in that despair, in that pain, in that darkness, I recognized that how can I possibly try to do something to not feel alone without allowing people to see me, without giving me, myself, the opportunity to show who I am to the rest of the people that is around me, well, that was around me. Because connection, it's not about then liking the person that I'm pretending to be, like the mask that I was wearing, because I deep inside know that the mask is not me. And if they love me, if they love that mask, doesn't mean that they love the real me. How can they connect with the real me when I don't share the real me with them? It doesn't make sense. Why? Because I want to connect, but I keep myself away from connecting. I keep people away from me out of fear of them hurting me. So the realization came to me when I realized that if I actually wanted to connect with people, I could not continue sharing the mask, acting based on that mask, because they would have no ability to connect with the real me. I would not actually allow them to connect with me. These thick walls that I built around me prevented that from happening. So I was not alone. It's not that people were not there with me. I was doing that to myself. I was making myself lonely. When I realized that it just didn't make any sense for me to have those walls, I started incorporating everything that I was seeing in that shadow side of me and use it in a positive, constructive way. I learned because that's a part of me, that is an ability that I have developed to connect with people, to know how I can actually reach out and be open and be okay with them accepting what I say, what I do, how I say it, and the where from I speak. Because I believe that when you speak from the heart, when you speak from the true you, from your truth, maybe people is not going to see things in the same way. That's fine. But they are going to feel that you're being honest, you're being open, that you're being vulnerable. And what they are going to do, they are going to most likely respond back from that same place. And if they don't, well, now, in that moment, you know, they're not the right person for you. As a friend, as a romantic partner, as co-workers, and you can start acting in a way that feels right for you in that situation with that person. And I also know how difficult it can be to feel lost in life. That is why I would like for you to check this video right here, where I walk you through what I've been doing in those moments when I feel like that.